Imagine you're walking along a quiet beach on the American coast late at night. The wind is cold, the ocean is dark, and the only sound you hear are the waves rolling onto the sand. Then suddenly, you notice something strange. Footprints, fresh footprints. And ahead of you, barely visible in the darkness, 4 men are digging in the sand, whispering urgently, trying to hide something heavy in wooden crates. What you're looking at is not a group of fishermen. It's a team of enemy agents who have just landed in the United States carrying explosives powerful enough to destroy factories, bridges, and power plants across the country. In the summer of 1942, this wasn't fiction, it was real. And if things had gone differently, explosions might have shaken American cities during World War II. This was one of the boldest sabotage missions ever attempted against the United States, a secret plan known as Operation Pastorius. But what makes this story truly incredible is how the entire operation collapsed before a single bomb went off. Before we dive into it, take a second to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy powerful true stories from World War II, the kind that sound like Hollywood movies but actually happened, you're in the right place. Now, let's rewind to 1942. The United States had only recently entered the war. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, the country had shifted into full wartime production. Factories were running day and night, producing aircraft, tanks, ships, ammunition, everything the Allied forces needed to fight across Europe and the Pacific. From the perspective of Nazi Germany, America had become the industrial backbone of the Allied war effort. If that production could be disrupted, even slightly, it might slow down the Allied advance. That idea led to a daring plan approved by the leader of Nazi Germany, Adolf Hitler. Instead of attacking American cities with bombs from the air, Germany would send agents directly into the United States to carry out sabotage from within. The operation was organized by the German intelligence service known as the Abwehr. But these agents couldn't just be ordinary German soldiers. They needed to blend in. So the Abwehr selected 8 men who had something unusual in common. Most of them had actually lived in America before the war. They spoke English fluently, they understood American culture, they knew how to move around cities without attracting attention. On the surface, they could pass as ordinary civilians. The leader of the group was a man named George John Dasch. Dasch had lived in America for years before returning to Germany. Because of that experience, German intelligence believed he was the perfect man to lead the mission. The 8 agents were taken to a special sabotage training camp in Germany. There, they learned how to destroy railroads with small explosive charges. They practiced sabotaging factories and power plants. They were trained to build bombs that could be hidden inside everyday objects, briefcases, tools, even lumps of coal. Their targets in the United States were carefully chosen: aluminum factories that produced aircraft materials, hydroelectric power plants supplying electricity to major cities, bridges and railroads used to transport military supplies across the country. If these attacks succeeded, they could disrupt production, create fear among civilians, and force the United States to divert resources away from the war. By June 1942, the mission was ready. The agents were divided into 2 teams and sent across the Atlantic aboard German submarines. After weeks at sea, one of those submarines surfaced late at night on June 12, 1942, just off the coast near Amagansett. The ocean was black and quiet. 4 men climbed out of the submarine and stepped onto American soil. They carried waterproof crates filled with explosives, detonators, timers, and thousands of American cash. But there was one strange detail. They landed wearing German military uniforms. This wasn't a mistake, it was a legal precaution. If they were captured immediately while still in uniform, they could be treated as prisoners of war.
But once they changed into civilian clothes and began sabotage operations, they would be considered spies and could be executed. Once they reached the beach, they quickly changed clothes and began burying the crates of explosives in the sand. They believed the coast was empty, but it wasn't. A young Coast Guard patrolman named John Cullen was walking his regular patrol along the beach. At first, he noticed something unusual: footprints. Too many footprints. Then he saw them, 4 men moving around in the darkness. Cullen approached them cautiously and asked who they were. The men froze. For a moment, nobody spoke. Finally, George Dosh stepped forward and tried to stay calm. He told Cullen they were fishermen whose boat had run aground. But Cullen wasn't buying it. Dosh then made a desperate move. He pulled out a large roll of cash and quietly offered it to the patrolman. "Forget you saw us tonight," he said. Cullen took the money, but he had no intention of keeping quiet. He slowly backed away from the group, walked down the beach, and then ran as fast as he could to the nearest Coast Guard station. Within minutes, he reported everything he had seen. When authorities returned to the beach, the agents were already gone. But the sand told the story. Buried beneath the surface were crates filled with explosives, detonators, and sabotage equipment. German agents had landed in the United States. Meanwhile, the 4 men had already boarded a train heading for New York City. They believed the mission was still on track, but something inside their leader had begun to unravel. George Dosh had spent years living in America. He had worked there, built relationships there, and experienced the country firsthand. Now, he was supposed to destroy parts of it. The pressure began to weigh heavily on him. Just days after arriving in New York City, Dosh made a decision that shocked everyone. He decided to betray the entire operation. He boarded a train to Washington, D.C., walked into the headquarters of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and asked to speak with an agent. At first, the FBI thought he was crazy. A man claiming to be a Nazi saboteur who had just landed from a submarine? It sounded unbelievable. But then, Dosh began laying evidence on the table. Stacks of money given to him by German intelligence, secret codes, names of the other agents, details of their targets. Suddenly, the agents realized he was telling the truth. What followed was one of the fastest counter-espionage operations in American history. Within days, FBI agents tracked down the remaining saboteurs across several cities. One by one, they were arrested. The sabotage campaign that was supposed to strike American industry collapsed before it even began. The captured agents were brought before a military tribunal ordered by U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt. The trial moved quickly. 6 of the agents were sentenced to death. 2, including George Dosh, received prison sentences for cooperating with authorities. Just weeks later, 6 of the saboteurs were executed, and the operation that had once been seen as a bold strike against the United States became one of the strangest espionage stories of the entire war. A secret mission launched from submarines, a midnight landing on an American beach, a chance encounter with a Coast Guard patrolman, and a leader who ultimately chose to betray his own mission. Sometimes, history doesn't change because of massive battles or famous generals. Sometimes, it changes because one man decides he can't go through with what he was sent to do. And on a quiet beach in New York in 1942, that decision may have prevented explosions across the United States. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more incredible true stories from World War II, the kind that sound like Hollywood movies but actually happened, you're in the right place. Because some of the most unbelievable stories in history are the ones most people have never heard.